Good Thursday evening here on this April 14th. Welcome to FSU Weather. I'm Casey Cloud.
And I'm Margaret Hollis.
It was kind of a murky day across the viewing circle. Those temperatures didn't fluctuate too much, just staying between 63, 66 degrees. And the rain was really the story. A lot of drizzle, light rain around.
Yeah, I was having to pull out my sweater again today. I was like, finally thought it was time to hang those up, but nope, pulled them back out again. And actually, I forgot my umbrella this morning.
Yeah, definitely making for a bit of a tough commute to those classes if you don't have that on hand. And make sure you have it tomorrow, as we'll see some more sprinkles, showers around as well. But by the time we get into Friday night, early Saturday, it looks like most of that should move out of the picture.
Yeah, thankfully I was able to get back to my room to get my umbrella during a break between rain that one class got out, and it was just a really light mist. And so like, okay, I'm going to go get my umbrella.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good time to do it for sure. Having that on hand, and again, like I was emphasizing, make sure you have that as we get into Toward Friday. Next week, though, the weather should really start to improve. Should be relatively clear. Those temps getting into the lower to mid 80s even. So just go out and enjoy it. I know finals week will be getting closer, so that's something you have to keep in mind as well. Probably having to stay inside a little more than you would like instead of enjoying those nice temperatures around. But overall, great conditions will be in store.
Yep, I'm looking forward to seeing the great sun, warm temperatures that we'll be seeing next week. And I'm also looking forward to see what we have in the rest of the show. Let's send it out to Shane with the overview.
Thanks, Margaret. It was a wet one out there today, that's for sure. And it wasn't just here in Tallahassee. This rain stretched from Pensacola out to Jacksonville and up into South Georgia, drenching Savannah as well. And it's very slow moving because it's associated with what we call a stationary front. And like the name suggests, that means that it won't be getting out of our hair for a little bit longer, barely moving at all. But before we get started, we wanted to tell you what tonight's low is going to be. We're expecting temperatures to fall down into the mid-50s with an 80% chance of rain. So you better break out those umbrellas if you're headed around this evening. Winds are going to be coming out of the east-northeast, but it won't be feeling too cool because it will be so muggy out there with all the rainfall. Now, breaking down our headlines for you, we're seeing those showers stick around throughout tomorrow. It'll be cool and muggy tomorrow night, but then the sun will come back out for the weekend. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Shane. We're going to turn our attention to a little bit further in the future than we're usually looking at the show. We're looking at hurricane season predictions for this year.
Yeah, those came out from Colorado State University today, and they're predicting 12 named storms, 6 of those becoming hurricanes, or actually 5. 6 would be the average, and then 2 major hurricanes, with 3 typically being the average. So just below average, right on par, really, is what they're forecasting there.
Yep. It always is interesting to see what those predictions say. That I know for me personally, that hurricane season when I was younger was a big thing that got me into meteorology.
Yeah, definitely. The 2004, 2005 hurricane seasons here in Florida were really a big deal. 2004 with Charlie, Francis, Jean, 2005. Of course, we had Katrina go over South Florida and then move up toward Louisiana. Also, Wilma, big story down there in the southern part of the peninsula. But right now, we'll go ahead and take it over for a look at things. Say it again at the wall.
Thanks, Casey. To the surprise of no one, it's still raining outside. That's why I'm keeping the umbrella on hand. We'll be needing that throughout tomorrow. And right now in the capital, it's 65 degrees. Of course, it's still raining. And with a humidity of 90% out there, you can really feel the humidity clinging to your skin as you walk around. And that's just because it's been raining so much lately. Here's a tally of the rainfall we saw here in town yesterday. 1.86 inches, and that fell just during yesterday alone. Quincy coming in over 2 inches. So while this may not have packed the punch of a severe thunderstorm, it's sure been dumping the rainfall on the Big Bend, and it's going to continue to do so throughout tomorrow. But besides making it very wet here in town, it's also been quite cool out there. Like Margaret said, you might need to break out the jackets again because the clouds really kept the temperatures down this afternoon, with a high of only 66 degrees in Tallahassee, 64 in Quincy, but a little warmer on the coast, 72 degrees for an afternoon high down there in Bainbridge. And here's that local radar showing that rain continuing to stick around our region. It's really slowed down the pace as it moves through our region. This front is not moving much at all, and that's why it gets the name stationary front. as opposed to a cold front, which is actually moving gradually across the region. But this stationary front is just leaving the light rain sticking around our region, beginning to push out of Tallahassee as the system overall begins to glide down out into the Gulf of Mexico. But it will be remaining with us, or at least the last dreary remnants of it will be sticking around through tomorrow. But there is sun on the horizon. We can see this system does not go on forever. They're seeing some sunlight up there in the center of Alabama, and that system will finally be getting off to the southeast. Let's talk about the details on that now. Here's our stationary front continuing to hug the panhandle of Florida and leave the showers in its wake. And it's going to gradually finally pick up speed and get out of our hair. By this time tomorrow, it will have finally made it down to the neck of Florida near Ocala, and then it will finally start scooting out down to the south. Until such a time, we should expect to need our rain gear throughout tomorrow. The clouds will stick around into the weekend, but it will finally begin to dry off a little bit. Let's take a look at our sailing forecast now. I'm not going to recommend tomorrow as the best day to go out on the waves, but if you need to, be aware that there will be a moderate chop with a wind from the northeast of 15 knots. As for tonight in town, we're going to get down to 54 degrees. The rain will be sticking around, and tomorrow we'll only be climbing up to 70 degrees with more rain to follow. But on that 7th day, we can jump ahead to see that. We see lots of sunshine finally making its way in as we move through Saturday into Sunday. Now for a look around the area, here's Casey.
Thanks, Shane. Let's get into that southeast now. See exactly what's going on with that. 65 degrees right now, Tallahassee, 65 in Montgomery, 65 in Little Rock even. A lot of areas seeing clouds really across the region in those areas, and that's really the story. But as we get further downstate, many more breaks in those. 86 Orlando, 80 down in the Key West, and 83 in Miami. Now, as we broaden things out to see what's happened over the last 24 hours, a little cooler than yesterday, Tallahassee, with all this shower activity really sucking Tallahassee in. Now, downstate, it's actually warmed up a bit, 7 degrees warmer Orlando, 2 degrees in Miami. Now, southeast radar, we see exactly what's going on here. This sour activity's been pushing across the panhandle. Today, we had a round yesterday, another round this morning, early afternoon, and still hanging with us now. Sour just out to the west, out like the Funiac Springs, getting into some of the Axon, also down toward Panama City as well. So that'll be making its way in toward our region into the evening, overnight hours. So just have that umbrella on hand if you have evening plans. Now, lightning strikes, we do see there's some downstate. We had a severe thunderstorm warning even earlier down east of Orlando. That's since expired, but you see there is still quite a bit of electricity in these storms. Now, southern Mississippi areas like Hattiesburg getting in the Axon, same thing with Tupelo there in the northeast part of that state. Now, as we see in Futurecast, exactly what is happening. Now, you see the sour activity is the story here as we get into our Friday. Still some hanging around more on the First Coast region. So getting down to the Space Coast, too, hugging that. The sour activity trying to make its way further inland. And it looks like it will as we get later in the afternoon and evening hours. But Tallahassee, the sours, well, they'll start to go away, making for a nicer evening. Hopefully, Relay for Life will be pretty nice. That'll be on the old IM fields here at FSU. Saturday morning, sprinkles down just south of Tallahassee, Apalachicola too, but really not too big of a concern. And in toward those airport delays, we see none anywhere in the southeast. Great news there. And in the ward forecast for tonight, well, 59 degrees Tallahassee, 54 Montgomery, 65 New Orleans. And for tomorrow, we see 72 Tallahassee, 83 in Orlando, especially further downstate, 85 Miami areas like Miami, Broward County, even getting toward some of the accents. That's definitely something that those communities do need to be concerned about. But right now, let's go ahead and talk a little local weather history. We see that back on April 14, 2007, there were 2 tornadoes in the National Weather Service Tallahassee jurisdiction area. One was in Ozark, Alabama. That one there was an EF1 tornado. Let's had another one in Terrell County. That was the Terrell-Lee County border. So, something definitely to be concerned about for sure. 15 structures were damaged, and that a mobile home, frame home destroyed as well. So definitely a concern for those folks. Numerous trees, power lines were down. Just quite a bit of serious nature with this accident. Of course, this last week we were talking about here on the FSU Weather Show, and you have 2 tornadoes touching down in Calhoun County, Georgia, just to the west of Albany. And that wasn't really even expected. The parameters didn't really look favorable for it, but that in fact did start to occur with quite a few tornado warnings in that region in the overnight hours. Definitely for nighttime tornadoes, you want to make sure you have a way to get warnings. Have that no other radio on hand turned on, or have a mobile app so you know exactly what's going on with the weather situation in your community. So just something you want to keep in mind. Now I want to go ahead and transition now out of this. We're going to talk a little bit about tomorrow's FSU weather show. Should be an exciting one for sure. We'll look back at some of the different things that have happened on the show this year. With different reflections by some of our student meteorologists, as well as a sports weather segment, the last one of the year. Get excited, folks, for that. Jake Carson's doing a great job in the control room tonight. He'll be along with me to talk exactly what's going on in the sports world, maybe even throw in some Chicago sports in. So that'll be exciting for him being a native of that region. But right now, we'll go ahead and take it over to a local look at things with Margaret.
Thanks, Casey. I do look forward to that sports weather segment. I'm not a huge sports fan myself, but it's always fun to listen to you guys talking about it because you are so enthusiastic about it. Right now in Tallahassee, 65 degrees. We've got light rain. It's kind of going back and forth between the lighter and the heavier phases, just kind of depending on which band we're in. But it is muggy outside with that humidity up at 90% and only a light breeze out of the east-northeast at 6 miles an hour. Our local radar, if we can get it to load, here we go, does show that we have that rain, nothing too heavy, making its way through our area, just going back and forth between those lighter shades of green and the darker greens and the yellows with those isolated heavier patches of rain, but it is going to be rainy for the rest of the evening. That rain in the cloud cover, though, it's kept our temperatures down all day. 65 degrees here in Tallahassee, a bit cooler up to the north, with 61 in Thomasville, Bainbridge, and Mariana, a little bit warmer at the coast, getting all the way up to 68 degrees in Carabel. Winds with this rain are coming out of the northeast. 8 miles an hour in Thomasville, 6 miles an hour here in Tallahassee, a little bit more out of the east in Quincy, also at 6 miles an hour. But that somewhat northerly flow is going to bring in some cooler air behind the rain when it does clear out. As we look through to the next couple days, those showers are sticking around with the stationary front. Stationary meteorology means the exact same thing you'd think it would mean in normal use. It's not really moving all that fast. So those showers are going to be sticking around through the day tomorrow. Same as today, just kind of spotty on and off, depending on what bit of weather we're in. As you get into Saturday, the rain starts clearing out, but the clouds are sticking around, so we are going to be looking at a rather overcast Saturday. For this evening, the rain's sticking around, cooling down to around 54 degrees, Monticello and Tallahassee, similar temperatures throughout the area. We've got an 80% chance of rain, so don't pack your umbrellas up, keep your rain boots out. It's still going to be damp, and if you've got to go outside, even just getting from your car to your house or to a restaurant, you're still going to want those rain boots and umbrellas ready so that you're not worried about getting yourself or any valuables wet. Looking at tomorrow, same thing, warming up to 70 degrees here in Tallahassee, just a smidge warmer than we saw today. That rain chance still sticks around at 50%, and we will be seeing those winds again out of the northeast, potentially up to 15 miles per hour. The day planner for tomorrow, we're going to be waking up to that possible drizzle, and it will be a bit of a cool start at 56 degrees, so have a sweater ready. Those clouds will be sticking around, and that rain is still likely. The weekend, though, the rain will clear out, and then we'll see a nice and sunny Monday and Tuesday. But now let's zoom out to the nation with Casey.
It's Margaret. Nation we go. See exactly what's going on with that. These temperatures really are the story here in the south. Pretty warm conditions in the deep south. Talking about like San Antonio, 80 degrees there. 71 Dallas, 86 over in Phoenix. But in our neck of the woods, much cooler. We're talking Tallahassee, only 65 degrees here in the Big Bend, 68 in Atlanta, and in the northeast, even cooler, 43 degrees, 44 actually, area in Boston. So you really see the temperature trends across our nation. Warming has occurred, though, from what it was 24 hours ago. 9 degrees, Detroit, 6 degrees in Washington, D.C., even a couple in Miami. For that satellite and radar, the Doppler radar does tell the story here, and satellite as well. Of course, we do see that there is some shower and thunderstorm activity in the Florida Panhandle, as I've been alluding to, down in toward parts of central Florida too, Brevard County, getting into some of the accent there even. So those folks need to definitely have that umbrella on hand, just like us around here. Northwest, satellite radar. So you see Seattle, even a bit of a spin here south of Seattle, bringing in some snow, showers, maybe even a couple rumbles of thunder in toward Oregon and Washington. Idaho getting in the accent too here with some snowy conditions. Even down toward Utah, Salt Lake City. They need to be on guard as well for some of this. Southeast back toward our region. Again, there's showers around. Not too much in the way of lightning. I was showing that to you earlier on the southeast view. Not too big of a concern, but really just relatively benign conditions, or nice conditions, I should say, around our region. Now, as we look for our watches and warnings graphic, you do see that there is a severe thunderstorm warning here in southeast Mississippi, not too far from Hattiesburg, in this yellow color. Another severe thunderstorm warning here in central Florida now popped up. This is not too far from the Kissimmee community. There, of course, Disney World in Osceola County. Airport delays, not to speak of, none in the whole nation. Great news there. So if you have any travel plans to the major hubs, you don't need to worry about it. For tonight, you see those northwest areas, 40 in Billings, 43 Denver, 40 Salt Lake City. They're cool there. Northeast cool too, as I was alluding to just a little while ago. 38 Detroit, 46 Washington, D.C., 37 in Boston. Those folks definitely need to bundle up there, even closer to home like Tallahassee. Going to be a little cool for this time of year. 59 degrees in Leon County. Tomorrow, 72 Tallahassee. Much warmer though over towards San Antonio, 87. Phoenix, 81 there in southern Arizona. So I've given you the national view just real quick. I wanted to thank Jay Kimball. He's doing a great job, team leading behind the scenes tonight, doing critiques, doing time cues as well. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and leave you with this national view of things and take it over to Shane at the desk.
Thanks, Casey. Jay sure is doing a great job team leading tonight, that's for sure. And another great thing that we have to talk about tonight is the annual FSU Spring Fling, the 7th annual to be precise, and that's going to be taking place tomorrow evening in the Oglesby Union. There's going to be rides, games, prizes, as well as some great food and music and people to spend time with, not to mention Cosmic Bowling, a favorite tradition at Crenshaw Lanes, as well as Paint a Pot, all right down there in the Union. So there's going to be plenty of activity to do down there. So it'll be a great time to head out to the Union, get some food, ride the Ferris wheel or whatever rides they bring us tomorrow, and just have a fantastic evening. It only comes around once a semester. But as is tradition with the Spring Carnival, it's not the only thing going on campus tomorrow. There's also the FSU Flying High Circus down there at the circus tent by the stadium. Doors will open at 7 p.m. and the show starts at 8 and runs till about 10. So it's a perfect double feature if you want to head out to the circus and see the show, and then head back up to the Union and enjoy the last bit of the Spring Fling, because the carnival events, the games, the prizes, and the rides will be running from 7 p.m. tomorrow evening until midnight. But if you're still ready for more fun at that point, never fear, because there's more happening still in the Union. We all know Breakfast for a Buck, and that itself is not going to be happening this year. They're trying out a new event called Friday Night Bites from 11 p.m. until 2 a.m. Same time, same place as Breakfast for a Buck, right there in the Union Food Court. So once you get yourself fully immersed in the circus and all the rides, then you can refuel at the food court. But for right now, let's send it out to Margaret for a look around Florida.
Thanks, Shane. It really is interesting looking at Florida. As you look across the I-10 corridor and the Florida Panhandle, we're seeing 65 in Jacksonville and Tallahassee, and only 1 degree difference, 66 in Tallahassee. Cloudy and a bit damp, all three of those cities. But as we gaze further south, Tampa, Orlando, and getting down towards Miami, we're seeing temperatures in the low to mid 80s. Huge difference between those two regions, and it really does show where that stationary front has stalled out near the Ocala, Gainesville sort of area. Our satellite and radar view, we do see all these clouds just dominating the entire panhandle and trying to make their way into the Orlando and Tampa area, but just none of that rain associated with the clouds has made its way there. And that's cause for all these temperature changes. Down south, where they're still seeing all the sun, we see increases in temperatures from what they were seeing at this time yesterday. Up here across I-10, though, temperatures have dropped up to 5 degrees here in Tallahassee, and that's with that stationary front. Yesterday, it was a cold front, so it is bringing cooler air in behind it. Those winds down south are blowing off of the waters, off the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico. Pretty strong, too, 12 miles an hour in West Palm Beach, 10 in Tampa and Fort Myers, and they're just bringing in more moisture and warm air. Tallahassee and Jacksonville, seeing winds out of the north, bringing in more of that sort of cool air. As we look at the temperatures that we'll be seeing over the next couple of days, cooling off overnight, only to 59 here in Tallahassee, and into the 60s and even some low 70s down in South Florida. Watch as we warm up, though. North Florida stays pretty cool still, only getting up into the 50s, maybe sneaking into the 60s around Tallahassee. South Florida, though, we get all the way up to 85 degrees in Fort Myers. It's going to be getting pretty warm there, cooling off again overnight to similar temperatures statewide, but then we'd warm back up and see South Florida warmer again. Tonight's forecast, we will be seeing those cooler temperatures up here, 59 degrees here in Tallahassee, 61 in Jacksonville, and warmer temperatures downstate where we're even sitting at 75 in Key West. And with the humidity that you can be getting off of the waters, that can feel pretty muggy overnight. Looking at tomorrow, clouds are going to be moving in across the entire state, and South Florida will start to get in on that rain and cloud action as we see all these stormy, cloudy icons almost everywhere across the entire state, from Pensacola all the way down to West Palm Beach. Miami not quite getting in on that rain. Saturday, same picture. We'll be having the rain clearing out up north, and South Florida will be getting even more in on that action. But now we're going to send it back to Shane at the desk.
Thanks, Margaret. I sure hope the rain does get out of here before we get into the overnight hours Friday into Saturday, because in addition to the spring fling, the FSU Relay for Life will be going on as well outdoors, as we mentioned earlier on the show, down on the old IM fields on campus right next to the stadium. Starting at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, there'll be tents from organizations, all the student organizations on campus will be representing down there. FSU Meteorology will be included in that. And it's a great event, a fantastic fundraiser for cancer awareness and to support the American Cancer Society. And it's something that FSU proudly participates in every year. And we've got some good news for the relay. It looks like the forecast is positive for this one. We've got a 30% chance of rain in the early hours tomorrow evening, so don't leave the umbrellas at home. You're certainly going to want them, and make sure you've got a tent over your heads as everyone is walking to support cancer research out there. But as the evening goes on, that chance of rain is decreasing steadily, which we're all happy to hear. And personally, I'm glad to hear that the temperatures will not be too cold either. Starting off around 70 degrees through the upper 60s early tomorrow evening, we'll be looking for an overnight low in the 60-degree range, maybe breaking into the upper 50s. So in addition to the umbrellas and rain ponchos, a light jacket is probably in order as well if you're planning to break out the coffee and stay up all night with your team. And around Saturday morning, we'll be seeing those cloudy skies remaining as we begin to finally shake some of that rain out of our hair around a temperature of 60 degrees once again. So it's looking like a great evening for Relay for Life. Now let's send it to Casey for one last local forecast.
Thanks so much, Shane. Yeah, some of us in the North Florida chapter AMS NWA will definitely be doing this, sticking it out all night there at the old IM fields. Temperatures right now, or at least what they were for your day on your Thursday, 66 for the high. Here in Tallahassee, 63 the low. Again, not much of a temperature spread at all, only 3 degrees, and that's because of all the cloud cover and rain around. temperatures across our region. Well, see, Albany starting to get in the 50s now. There in Doherty County, Georgia even. You really see some of that cool air trying to filter its way in closer toward our viewing area. For that satellite and radar, again, the sour thunderstorm activity out toward the west still trying to make its way further east. So Liberty County getting into Jackson first, Leon, Gadsden as well here over the next little bit. So umbrella poncho definitely needed. For the current winds, you see these right now, 6 miles an hour Tallahassee, 10 in Valdosta. Moreover, on the first coast, though, 14 in Gainesville, 16 Jacksonville. Definitely seeing those pick up, and even out toward the Panhandle, pretty high, west part of Panhandle, 14 miles an hour in Pensacola. We're talking about Escambia County. So you're looking ahead here over the next 36 hours or so. Showers will be the story across our viewing circle because of this stationary front. It'll be bringing that moisture in and having that linger around in toward your Friday. So make sure, again, as I've been saying throughout this multiple times, have that umbrella poncho on hand. Friday afternoon, again, showers will come back into the picture. That Friday evening, so if you have some dinner plans, you'll want to have that on hand, that umbrella, and Saturday morning too. Overcast skies will still be in store, making things stay relatively nice across the viewing circle, but starting to warm up as those clouds do break. Maybe it'll be a good beach day on the Saturday. Probably not tomorrow, though. Northeast 15-mile-an-hour winds, serve 2 to 3 feet. Again, showers, thunderstorms will be around, so not the nicest day to be out there. 6 is that UV index, so if you do go out, maybe have that sunscreen on hand, but again, there's not going to be too many breaks in the clouds tomorrow, but you can still be burnt, even with cloud cover around. Boating forecast, looking ahead for that, again, northeast 15 knots, 2 to 3 foot waves, chance of some showers again. Now that sunset getting later on, so those days getting longer, getting closer to summer, folks. Getting closer to those FSU Weather Summer shows even. We'll have Jay Kimball, Jay Carson's On Days Running, team leading those. So that'll be definitely intriguing, though. For tonight, we have 54, cloudy, and some chance of showers around. You see those winds, 10 to 15 miles an hour. And for tomorrow, you see exactly what's going to take place. 70 degrees for that high temperature and that 7-day forecast. You see these temperatures, they'll start to really warm up here across the viewing circle as we get in toward the end of the week and in toward early next week as well.
Yeah, that 7-day looks absolutely gorgeous once we make it through this weekend. I'm not going to worry about getting into Wednesday next week. That's too far away for me to worry about with the forecast.
Yeah, definitely. You never know. It's a model uncertainty even. That could definitely be in place with that, as we're still 4 or 5 days away from next Wednesday. But right now it's looking pretty nice for our area.
Yeah, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, those all look absolutely gorgeous. I'm looking forward to seeing the sun again after having not seen it over the last couple of days.
Yeah, definitely wanting to get those peaks out there. It'll really be nice, especially Tuesday. Looks like pretty sunny the entire day, so go out there across our viewing circle and enjoy it. But make sure you like us on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter, and you can even watch us on livestream.com/FSU Weather.
And if you ever see any cool clouds outside, especially once they start clearing and we might see some cool sunsets, send us your pictures. We absolutely love to see them.
Yeah, giving the Instagram some love, as Jake Carsons would say. But we have 15 seconds to go. So again, thanks so much for joining us here on this Thursday evening on KC Cloud.
I'm student meteorologist Margaret Hollis. Have a great evening, Tallahassee. And remember, keep your umbrellas and stay dry.
Have a good night, everybody. See you tomorrow. Thanks so much.